What is up, guys? Jake from OneHive here with a quick announcement video. And as you probably have figured out from the title, it's about the next clan in the clan family, OneHive Prime. And to talk about it with me, I've got our boy Cheatham here. Cheatham, what's going on, man?
Hey, not much, man. Having a good time. In one hive as usual with the Woo Train.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Cheatham is a big part of helping with the recruiting in Prime, and also not just to announce the clan, but also I was talking to Cheatham before we started recording. It's such a labyrinth, I guess, at this point when you have so many clans in the clan family that even being in the clan, sometimes I'm confused about exactly which clan is a feeder for what or how it works. So I can only imagine from the outside looking in, it must be very confusing. So that's another thing I want to do in this video is just sort of make that a little clearer for people that want to apply. They're not sure where to apply. But just start us off. Tell us about Prime, what they are, what their goal is, and just get us started.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, we have a new plan that we've added called One Hive Prime, and One Hive Prime basically is going to the role they're going to have is they're going to be a direct feeder for 1.0. We aren't going to be recruiting directly for Prime, but anybody who applies on our website for One Hive for 1.0 will then they'll first come through the tryout process. They'll come through Prime first, and that's where they're going to prove themselves and be ready to come to the main clan once they do that.
Okay, let me ask the question that I know I'm going to get asked a million times. Who can apply to Prime? Is it Town Hall 8s, 9s, 10s, just 9s and 10s, just 9s? What's accepted there?
Well, it would be only nines and tens, and the requirements for 1.0, it'll be applicants for 1.0.
Okay.
So Prime will be basically the recruits for 1.0 will come to Prime. So we only take nines and tens. The requirements are on the website. 15 heroes are the minimum, and there's the other requirements are listed on the website as well.
Okay, so if I'm a Town Hall 8 and or maybe even a Town Hall 7 that's close to being an 8 and I want to be in the One High family, where do I have to go?
Right. So basically, your pathway would be through Alpha. Um, a lot of you are familiar with Genesis if you follow the One Hive Rage channel and you see all the great things in Genesis, and maybe you're a Town Hall 7 or a Town Hall 8, and that's where you want to be. They don't actually recruit, there's not an application for Genesis, but your path to Genesis is through Alpha. So you would apply for Alpha, and if you come into there and it's the same ideas, that's where you come and prove yourself. And when you prove yourself in Alpha, then you move up to Genesis when they feel like you're ready or you're good enough or you stand out, you impress them, you blow them away.
Mhm.
You're gonna move right up to Genesis. And at some point, some people might be like, well, what if I want to, what if I'm a Town Hall 8 and someday I want to go to One Hive? How do I do that? Well, you start off, in Alpha, and then you go to Genesis, and then if once you have proven yourself in those clans and you are meeting the requirements to come to 1.0, there will then be an opportunity for you to move to 1.0 at that point. One thing that we discussed also before the video is a lot of times people get to clan like Genesis, and Genesis is they're actually have evolved into our sister clan. At one point, people probably recognized Genesis as a feeder for 1.0,
Mhm.
but for a long time now, they really have been more of a sister clan than a feeder. We just bring recruits through there. But a lot of people will be really happy once they get to Genesis, and a lot of the members that we have in Genesis, they don't want to come to 1.0, because they're doing so well in Genesis and having such a good time there. They just want to stay there with all their friends. And I think Genesis and 1.0, in terms of where they are in their skill, their abilities, are very, very similar. The main difference is just where they are in the weights. They have a lot more Town
Right.
Hall 8s, and the Town Hall 9s are lighter. They're not as developed, so it's a kind of a lighter weight class. And then 1.0, we have a lot heavier weights. We have max Town Hall 9s and we have Town
Mhm.
Hall 10s. So it's just a different weight class.
Right, yeah. Genesis is just, like you said, just sort of evolved into its own thing. They've just grown, and it's so neat how it happened because at one time they were sort of like what Alpha is. They were, taking almost exclusively Town Hall 7s and 8s. But all those guys grew up, and like you said, so many of them said, hey, I don't want to go to 1.0 anymore because I love it here. And so that's how it sort of happened and how it sort of evolved to what
Right.
it is today.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job in Genesis. Those guys do work really hard,
Hmm.
and Alpha is still somewhat new. Although Alpha is really establishing itself too. I believe they're 26-0 with like 11 perfect wins. I mean, they're just
Nice.
rocking it over there as well. But it's a lot of work that they put into there, and we are constantly bringing our recruits into there, and 1.0 is starting to fill up. So what happens is we need a place to sort of house all the recruits that we're getting,
Hmm.
because we don't want to turn people away just because we don't necessarily have room. We want to keep them somewhere because there's a lot of awesome raiders that have been applying and coming in, and they have a lot on their plate already. So if we were to fill up Genesis with all of our recruits, that puts a lot of pressure on them and on top of what they're already doing. So that was actually one of the big reasons that we added this new clan, is so that there's not pressure for them to have to manage our recruits in their clan. Instead, we have our own. Now Prime is going to be our own feeder for 1.0.
Right. That's one thing I get asked a lot is, why doesn't OneHive do a clan like for younger people or a clan for these people or a clan? And it's like, guys, we have people don't realize how hard it is to run these clans. And that's one thing that I think we've always done a good job of is we won't establish a new clan until we have strong leadership in place. And Genesis is a perfect example of that. The reason they've done so well, the reason they are their own clan now is because of the leadership. When you have that strong leadership,
Absolutely,
then the clan is able to grow from within. They don't have to ride on on just the recruits coming from us. People want to come to Genesis and be a member of
absolutely.
Genesis. So that's a tribute to the leadership, and I think that's the same throughout all the clans. You get a
That's
good,
how I came to the family. I
yeah.
started out in Genesis many months ago, and then grew into the leadership there, and
Hmm.
I helped I think as well, and into building it for somewhat into what it is. But it's a team effort. There's so many guys have pitched
Yep.
in to make it what it is, and I'm just really proud of what they've become over there. As somebody who kind of like that was like where I started out, so I still have a lot of
Sure.
you know sentimentality. I remember going back there for their 100th win.
Yeah,
We had a lot of
definitely.
fun. So,
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, real quick, also run us through, just 'cause I know there's other clans in the family, and we talked about sort of the structure for 1.0 for Genesis and through Alpha. Now, I know that you're not involved in that part, but can you tell us just a little bit more about the other clans and how they structure in like for 2.0 and so on?
yeah, I don't have a lot of information in that sense, but basically it's the same idea where Genesis is our sister clan,
Hmm.
2.0 is our other sister clan. So basically 2.0 and 1.0, a lot of people think this is a common misconception that I've heard before, is that 2.0 is a feeder for
Right.
OneHive, and
Yeah.
it's
Which has
definitely
not been
not.
that way for a long
Not
time.
at all. Yeah, 2.0 is an awesome clan in their own right, and they're just a sister clan. It's kind of like we're a part of the same family. We're but we're and we I guess if there is a relationship between us, I mean, we share players for ranged wars.
Yeah.
It gives us a large player pool, makes it easier to range wars. Sometimes we get together and scrimmage with each other. Sometimes we get together and scrimmage with other groups,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it just gives us a lot of options. And so, Invicta and Swarm, those are the clans that feed into 2.0.
Right.
So,
Right. Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, very cool. Man, I guess that's pretty much it, Cheat, unless you think of something else we need to talk about. But basically, just announcing the clan. Guys, it's all on the website. You go to the website. It's real simple. As Cheatham said, you're gonna be applying to OneHive to the main clan, but you will be going through the feeder prime to get to that location. So you're gonna go there. You're gonna do some mores. We're gonna
Yep.
evaluate you and move up from
I
there.
do have I do have one thing I want to add.
Mhm.
This is a great time to apply for OneHive, because we have the new feeder clan now. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive for a couple of weeks in the recruiting. So this is a great time to apply for OneHive right
Well, I
now.
think after the video, you'll probably get a nice heap of new recruits for sure.
More
So
work for me. I know.
yeah.
I'm probably not a good idea for me to do that, but hey, we want to bring as many good players in as we can fit. We can't bring everybody, of course, or we'd have to open up like 10 new clans instead of
Yeah.
just one. But we do our
Yeah.
best to give as many people an opportunity as we can.
That's right. It's all about giving someone a shot. Everybody hopefully, eventually, if they're patient and they stick with it, they'll get their shot. And if they're good enough, they'll be in the clan. So, man, thank you for
Absolutely.
coming on and doing this with me. Really appreciate it.
No problem. It's my pleasure, and looking forward to seeing some of these new guys coming in and showing us what they got.
Definitely. All right, man. Thanks, guys. Until next
You're
time,
welcome.
Jake from OneHive with Cheatham, doing our best to help you guys suck less.